All right, what's going on, everyone? I'm gonna go ahead and get TikTok going. Back over to this account. All right, what's going on, everyone? Just getting logged in over on TikTok. Are we ready to go? All right. Where is it? There we go. All right, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to the show. If you guys are over on TikTok, want to double tap that screen. You guys over on YouTube, hit that like button, interact, help get some people in here. Would appreciate it. Oh, dude. We got some stuff to talk about this morning. I think we'll do a news story on it. There we go. And then all right, what's going on, everyone? What's going on? Oh, sorry, all sorts of stuff's going iffy today. We're almost ready. And then all right, if you guys are over on YouTube, hit that like button. Would appreciate it. Help get some people in here. All right. Paige, you feel like joining this morning? Just a thought. Wait, I missed something. Sorry, I'm scrolling back. You just got laid off of work, Dennis. I'm sorry to hear that, man. That sucks. Hopefully you got something lined up. I'm sorry to hear that, Dennis. Trump's America. I don't know if it's Trump's fault, but I'm sorry to hear that. Paige, what's going on?
Not much. I have like a gardener here, so I'm gonna go on mute for a second.
Oh. Okay, that's fine. So we got some news stuff that we're gonna head over here in just a second. Just waiting for everybody to join. Sorry to hear that, Dennis. Just waiting for some people to get in here. If you guys are over on TikTok, if you guys want to do me a solid and double tap the screen, help get some people in here so we can get some debates. Because I really want to ask Mega about Ukraine. We already have someone. Suspect. Already suspect. All right, we'll see. Hello?
Hey, I'm sorry. Are you just looking for debates?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, I'll drop.
No, you're good. You were good. Stop that recording. I do want to talk about this. I was just waiting to get some more people in here. I don't think Jaden's going to join. I don't know if Josh is going to... What was I going to do? Oh, yeah, this. That's something I was going to do. Oh, that's why. No, leave me alone. Pop-ups. All right. All right, I guess we have someone on the request. Let's see what happens. Hello, BR. What's going on?
What's up?
What's going on? What's your take?
Where did MAGA say COVID came from? Just so I know you're an honest individual.
What?
I said, just so I know you're an honest individual, where did MAGA say COVID came from?
Why would this? Okay. They think it came from the lab. Why? Why would I?
I just so I know you're objectively true and honest.
Okay. I don't know how that proved it, but all right. Yeah. What's your take?
I mean, that is my take. Just
What's
wanted
your-
to hear you say it. We were called conspiracy theorists for 2-3 years.
You
I
asked
think-
me where MAGA thinks it came from. So I
Right.
answered where MAGA thinks it came from.
Right, and you did.
I don't
At
think
least-
that. MAGA thinks that.
Oh, so where do you think it came from?
Do you know what RATG 13 is?
Nope.
Do you know what a fear and cleavage site is?
Nope.
Then we don't have anything to talk about.
It wasn't funded by NIH funding?
No.
I don't think so. I think the intelligence agents that came out and said it was from the lab in Wuhan after it all went down. I think those people are right. I mean, unless are you
There's
privy-
nobody that's come out and made conclusive remarks other than MAGA of where it came from.
Yeah,
I don't know
I'm
what
pretty
this
sure there's like
has to do with the
50 I'm pretty
background.
sure it's like 50 intelligence agents.
No,
Like
there's
VR.
not. What are intelligence agents? What? Sorry,
CIA, FBI.
Yeah, they didn't say that. Paige, go ahead.
Like, how does that tie into the background, the topic on the background?
It's just they don't.
Where did Trump say COVID came from?
No, how does that tie into the background?
Okay, if you'd answer my question, you would make the correlation.
No, see, I asked the question. No, I didn't ask you to ask me a question. I asked the question. You
Well,
can
then
answer,
I
but not
can-
with a question. So how does it tie into the background?
I mean, if your brain's that small, I can make the connection for you.
Yes, it's very small.
I can
Thank
tell.
you. I appreciate it.
So Trump said COVID came from China, and then that's in alignment with the MAGA. So he also predicted massive inflation under Biden.
How does that tie into Republicans don't know why they support Trump? You're talking about Biden. How
I do know
does
why I
that-
support Trump because he called everything that happened.
With
Pretty easy.
COVID, but you don't know any of the things that I just told
COVID,
you.
with
Which,
inflation,
dude, like, listen. So
With the
is it COVID?
lockdown.
Is it COVID or not COVID?
Did we not go through a
Are you
quote-unquote
asking-
pandemic?
Are you asking if are you saying you support him because of his COVID policies?
No, I'm saying I'm supporting because he was right all along and you guys were wrong.
He wasn't right.
People like you guys were dead wrong. And
You
now
don't,
just
dude.
can't-
Listen.
Remember
don't
when you
know-
were telling
both
people
of the
that they were
things that I
wrong?
told you. Excuse me.
Because I remember you during COVID.
Hold on, stop.
And you were telling people that they were wrong.
I
and
know
they're-
I was supposed to die a year ago. It never happened. I'm still here. Everybody in this chat is still here.
I know. That's what we
didn't
tried
die.
to tell you guys. I know. We tried to tell you guys, but you guys were telling people that
Tried
you
to tell us
didn't need
what?
vaccines. That you don't need vaccines to live.
Tommy, do you know who this is? This is the guy that did all those lives on you. Remember, he like screen grabbed your background, then put it behind him.
No,
I don't think
tried
so.
to-
It doesn't sound like him.
No, I think
I'm
it's
not. I'm not gonna waste
That
that
guy's
much
still
time.
That guy's still doing that, by the way. I don't understand what you're saying because for you to be able to understand where COVID came from, you would have to understand the two things I told you earlier, which you don't.
I don't need to understand that. No, it came.
You
from,
absolutely do. How are you
Aladdin.
supposed to? You absolutely do. There's no
Came
getting
from
around that.
Aladdin's
How are
son.
you supposed to make an objective conclusion about where
That's
it
why we
came from
moved
if
it.
you don't
We
know
moved
where
it.
it came from?
That's why Obama moved the lab from North Carolina, I believe, to China.
The lab has not been moved anywhere. The Wuhan Coronavirus Institute has been there for a long time.
I'm sorry, the lab itself. But the research was moved to China.
was
from
the
North
research was not moved.
Carolina. Yes, it was.
The research was not moved. Dude,
Listen,
the point is,
listen,
listen, you
Congress has
sound stupid.
already discussed
Dude, I'm going to be real. You sound stupid. You need to stop.
Congress has already discussed this.
You need to stop. This sounds
You need
stupid.
to stop. Congress has already discussed this. You're spreading.
Stop talking. I will literally cut you out of the live for just
Congressional
steamrolling.
hearings have discussed.
Dude, stop. Stop.
Congressional hearings have
I'm
discussed.
going to give you one more time and then you're going to go. All right. That's good. I'm good. I tried. But you see how uneducated they are? Like, he doesn't know any of the background about where it came from. He doesn't know that entire nature side of where it came from. How are you going to make a conclusive determination? And I just want to point out, and Fauci has said this innumerable times, people on the left that I've talked to that are experts in the field. I spent a pretty long time talking to Laughter and Light about it. I've talked to other experts. I've talked to Tracy. I've talked to whatever. And we've discussed this very thing. And pretty much everyone I've talked to has said it's not likely it did. It's not impossible it didn't. That's their conclusion. And I hold the same thing. It just doesn't seem very likely. It does not seem very likely it originated in a lab for a lot of different reasons. And no, I don't want to have a conversation on this. If you want to debate the background, that'd be cool. Or you can debate Trump and Ukraine. That'd be awesome too. I don't know the viability of doing debates on vaccines anymore because of TikTok. It's not even a YouTube thing because I think YouTube got rid of that. It's a TikTok thing. We have your IP address. Okay. I love when people do this because they don't even know how the internet works. Like they don't know how ISPs work at all. I bet I could. Wait, hold on. I'm going to turn it around. Let's see how quick I can find him. Should we do it?
It's easy. He's an easy one.
Oh, yeah. Wait, hold on. We could find it. We
It's
could.
Steve Hatton or Hatton.
Steve Hatton. How... Do you think I could find him quick? You think I could find enough about him to scare him that he stops doing dumb shit?
Oh, sure. Stephen Hatton.
All right, let's see.
Let's go. So, like, Stephen, you were able to get through TikTok's server walls? Like, you know how many firewalls that
here.
guy has?
Is this your wife, Amanda?
Oh, Amanda. Well,
It's Amanda. That didn't work out well for you. Stop doing dumb shit on the internet, bud. Okay? Now you're going to go ahead and get blocked. All right. I want to start this debate off. You guys remember what I said the other day? See if we can get some in here.
There you go.
I can't remember if Joe was like a great debate or if he was a yeller. I can't remember. Joe, what's up? I know he's been in here before.
Hey, how you doing?
Doing all right. I thought he was respectful, but we'll see. So what's going on? What's your take?
Well, I support Trump just on the. However, it is imperfect. There's nothing perfect. No such thing as perfect, but immigration, his stance on that, I do support that. If somebody is going, I also support immigration. I support legal immigration through ports of entry. I don't support people just walking across the border and then seeking asylum or saying they are and then waiting for their day in the court. Those people who are crossing the border illegally, we don't know them from Adam. We don't know what their intentions are. However, I know that the percentage of them are just workers, just making a buck for their family and sending it back. I get that. I'm all for that. But we don't know who they are when they just cross a border undocumented.
Right, but you see how the Trump administration has regularly attacked even people that are here legally.
Yes, like I said, an imperfect system.
Okay,
Yes.
so my second question would be then, why does this, why does it matter? Like you're saying, like, okay, for nationalistic reasons, we're not going to stop everyone that crosses the border. That's just a fact. There's no way that we can stop everyone that crosses the border. There's this, and what I find interesting, especially about MAGA, is there's a significant rise in right-wing extremism and violent attacks in the United States. They don't really have anything to say about that. But also, it just seems like a lot of fear-mongering to, sort of piggyback off Trump's ultimately horrific rhetoric towards migrants.
Okay. Yep. I mean, I think you would say the same thing with the America's judicial system. It's not perfect. There are wrongly accused people in prison.
I agree, but this notion of being like, we don't know who's going to cross the border. We have border agents. We've had border agents. Obama made the largest increase in border patrol. Trump literally told the Republicans not to vote for the border bill. So it's just like this has become a political football that the Republicans refuse to solve. Like you have to see that, right? The Republicans are not solving this issue. They didn't sign off on the Dreamers. Uh, they have inhibited progress in this specifically so that they can attack it as the Democrats are doing bad. But I don't know how we're supposed to respond. Of like, no one is saying from this perspective, no one is saying like we shouldn't stop people at the border. The question is using that to justify what the Trump administration is doing. Well, people are crossing the border. People are always going to cross the border. So then, is there if that argument? No matter what we do in terms of a policy proposal, that argument will stand, right? Because it'll never be hardline enough for Republicans.
Sure, but has Trump implemented one of the most aggressive anti illegal immigrants movement, if you want to call it that? You know what I mean? Has he not initiated something to say we're not going to go ahead and just take anybody? If you are undocumented and you are here, we will find you. Do it the right way. I support that.
Right, but you understand how the Republicans have inhibited people from doing it the right way, and at times even targeted people for doing it the right way.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't know if it's a full blame on the Republicans. I know what you're saying, but I mean, there's been Democrats that have been in office that had their chance at taking care of stuff too, you know? And so I don't think it's blamed on the Republicans. I just think that Trump initiated something that's more aggressive than what Democrats would have done. Like I said, it's imperfect, but I do support at least something being done.
Yeah, my thoughts on this are really that the Republicans have been both the problem and the solution, the proposed solution, where they have made it impossible for people to come here legally and impossible for people to get checked into the system and then turn around and attack them for not being able to get in here legally.
Sure, I think that that's more of like and maybe I'm wrong by saying this, but I think it falls under the Homeland Security, like ports of entry, so on and so forth. I believe that they could. I mean, yeah, you might have to hire a shit ton more people. You might have to have open more ports. You might have to do something, but it's an imperfect system that needs to be rectified. And I believe that he's not going to fix it. He's only got 3.5 years. He's not going to, it's got to be something that's going to be continued, and he started it. And that's why I support it.
All right, well, panel, do you got anything? I don't know who wants to take it, or anyone had anything over there.
No, I don't.
I was just going to say, on the notion that he is for preserving and expanding forms of legal migration, I'd argue that he's been the most ardent opponent of legal migration here in the ways that he's attacked student visas and have revoked them, deported people who are here with that status, the way that he's undone temporary protected status or TPS and asylum seeking processes, has undermined legal systems of which many people have gone through the legal route and are now incapable of doing so, or at least discouraged from doing so. If this was his prerogative in getting people in here in the most legal way possible, he wouldn't be cracking down on these systems that have been in place and have facilitated these movements legally.
Sure. And like as I refer to it as like the judicial system, there are people, you'd have to agree, there are innocent people that are in prison. You know what I mean? It's just wrong. It's an imperfect system, but it's got to start somewhere. And I believe that this aggressive form is kind of getting the ball rolling forward. It's up to the next president, whoever that is, left wing, right wing, whoever it is, to keep it rolling, to get it. It's never going to be perfect, but to get something in place. And this is a starting point.
But the something in place and where we're starting is going to mean that the next administrations, not the next president, but the next few presidents will have to be picking up from the pieces of the hundreds of thousands of people now deported to countries that are not their country of origin, of the fact that U.S. citizens have now been displaced without due process, of the fact that so many people who went through the legal route have had their legal means undermined. This is not a simple solution that can be fixed with the next president. This is decades worth of progress that has now been upended that will have to be done again. Right. And I think that there's no reason as to why this should ever have been a question as to whether or not U.S. citizens should be deported. The obvious answer is no. It shouldn't have been a question as to whether or not habeas corpus should be attacked. The obvious question has been answered decades ago, centuries ago, is no. The fact that legal systems are now being upended, the obvious question to that was no. But, if there's just a blanketed slate of mass deportations of people, then obviously people who have legal means are going to get caught in that crossfire, and it's far more difficult and expensive to get them back here, as we've seen with the case of Kilmar Garcia.
And extremely unfortunate. But like I
Not
said,
just unfortunate, unconstitutional,
it's a
lawless.
it's an imperfect system, and
Well, it's lawless.
and I don't believe that. I mean, let's just say that the next. I mean, what has happened the last two first days in the swap over, new president, right? Biden came in, a whole desk full of executive orders that undid Trump stuff. Same thing Trump did this year. You know what I mean? It's going to be, everybody's just going to be, no, we're not doing that. No, we're not going to do that. No, we're going to implement this. And the next president comes in, undermines it all anyway. It's never going to be fixed, I don't think.
That's not to say that there aren't steps that needed to be taken, and very clearly there were, is why Republicans tanked one of the largest bipartisan agreements towards the border that would have alleviated many of the issues and stresses that we see today. The issue here has to do with the backlog of cases, the lack of judges, processing centers, facilities, translators, interpreters, lawyers, etc., etc. Mass deporting people does not address that root issue.
Sure, but it put it on the map of what the U.S. is doing.
Well, we know that, but the question here is how to get them in here legally,
I
and that
agree.
does not alleviate that issue.
I agree tenfold. Absolutely. I couldn't agree more.
Okay.
And like I said, I don't know if it falls on the DHS or
It does.
I mean, for immigration, I mean, everything has to be broadened, like you just said. More hires, more ports of entry, translators, the whole 9 yards. I agree with that tenfold. Absolutely. Yep.
But what about
Okay.
what about the wasteful spending? Like in the first 2 months of him doing this mass, like moving immigrants to Gitmo, right? That was $40 million alone. And now he just said a couple weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, maybe just a week ago, that he wants to send 30,000. It's prepared for about 500. You
Yeah,
know,
I
he had to
mean,
return.
as
He had to
far as
return like 200. They had to
right.
turn around and send them back, which was an additional cost. All of the time being spent in federal courts, additional costs.
Yeah,
Do
well,
you,
nothing's free. I mean, it's if you're going to do something like this, it's going to cost money. That should just be a no-brainer. You know what I mean?
I said
If
wasteful though. I said wasteful spending.
if we could have done it for 10 million, would we have taken that deal? Probably. You know what I mean? Do it as cheap as possible. I'm assuming that we're doing it the cheapest way we can.
Yeah, the transportation is not even included in that 40 million. That's excluding transportation costs, which is about $27,000 an hour for charter planes.
Sure. Like I said, it's an imperfect system.
Right, but there's a lot
Right.
of
We
imperfect
understand.
here.
Yeah, we understand it's an imperfect system, man. But what is he doing to change it? Like we understand this is disproportionately affecting brown people, but it's also affecting American citizens at the same time. What's he doing to fix it?
What's he doing to fix? Give it more. Fix exactly what?
Right. We understand that there's a problem here, right? It's imperfect. American citizens are being affected. 4-year-old children on cancer treatment are being affected. They are actively hunting down brown people within our country. It's an imperfect system. What is he doing to fix it?
I haven't heard anything.
So just continue with disproportionately affecting brown people in this country? That's okay with you? Like you're just gonna be like, well, it's imperfect. You know, the judicial system. We understand it's imperfect. We get that.
I'm
Fix
not
it.
putting. I'm
Don't
not
continue down the same road. Is the point?
Sure. Maybe
But you're okay with it though.
maybe there is a way, and I just touched on this, but maybe there is a way that I don't know that they have a plan that they can fix it. But what's the point of it again in 3.5 years if somebody else gets in and just undoes it? What is the point of it?
That doesn't make sense. This is affecting people right now, not 3.5 years from now. We're talking about right now. So you said you're okay with what he's doing, even though you understand it's imperfect and it's hurting people. You're still okay with it. That's my problem.
Yes,
Like,
I believe that everybody that comes over into the U.S. and wants to become a citizen should do it legally. Would you agree?
Yeah, 100%. Then why is he
there-
literally stripping the asylum process away from people so he can deport them to other countries other than their home country?
That I
Like,
don't
I
know.
agree
don't
people
have
should do
that
it
answer.
legally, but he's hindering that as well.
Right. I don't have the answer for you, baby. Like we said, hire more people, translators, judges, the whole nine
So,
yards.
but
Here's the thing,
here's
you
the,
stand by. Sorry, go ahead. Your
no,
turn.
you go ahead, Paige. I'll go in a second. It's fine.
I was gonna say you're standing behind this administration and the way they're carrying it out, and at the same time you're agreeing that they're fucking up a lot.
Oh yeah, I'm not exactly thrilled with the route
Then
they're
why are you
going.
standing
What
by
I'm
it?
standing behind is because they're doing something about it. They're
Well,
trying to.
They were
do
doing
Biden.
something. Literally, Biden and Obama did more.
Deported more.
Couldn't-
I get that, right?
Couldn't
I understand that.
Why couldn't Trump have just done the deportations without targeting groups that don't have anything to do with anything that you're talking about?
I'm sorry, I got a call coming in right now. I have to
Okay.
bounce. I'll hop back on off my call if that's all right.
All right. I'll just stop the recording for now. And when he comes
Yeah.
back.
Remember the
back
Skype
to
theme
it.
song? Boop, boop,
No, I fucking hated Skype.
boop.
I'm so
We all
glad
did.
FaceTime came around. This guy, Skype was terrible. Is he even around anymore? It's gotta be.
No. No. it's
Hello?
done.
User. Interesting. He did it again. It's the same exact that user guy from yesterday.
Yeah, it's the same guy.
Yeah, he keeps joining this
He does it
Jacob
to
West
Pickles,
guy.
too.
Which one? It doesn't say anything. Most of the
Did
time
you guys
it's
see
silent though.
where Mark
So-
Rutte called Trump daddy?
Gay.
Very gay.
Well, easy with the TikTok stuff. I don't. Easy with that. I don't know. Hello.
Sorry.
Hey, how are you?
What's
Hi.
1 second? Are you debating?
I just had a question.
Sure.
8.5. Next.
Okay, so when we were talking about the deportation, and I see that he wants to deportate all these people, and we're speaking on brown people, immigrants, and from different countries. So why is he so focused on deporting those guys and calling them MS-13, and we've got to get them out of here? And then he turns around and brings in white Afrikaners.
Because
I'm
he's
still looking
racist.
for a logical answer for that.
He's racist. If you're brown, he equates that with criminality, with gangs, with trafficking, with smuggling, things of that nature. If you're white, you're a decent, upstanding, potential citizen of the United States.
Thanks for
AJC,
having me.
appreciate it. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
AJC, appreciate the 10. Thank you over there on YouTube. Could we get some dubs and drumsticks in the chat? By the way, we have a 20 sub goal in the morning. If you guys want to sub over on TikTok, it's 2 subs, by the way. You can gift them or over on YouTube and Twitch. If you guys also want to support, there's a Patreon in the link tree in the bio. Would appreciate it. All right, we got to do a news segment. Did you see Trump's? I'll pull up let me see. Did I save the video? Okay, yeah, I just want the audio, so I'm going to send this over so we can play it through, and then I'm going to do this. This is kind of a news clip. This sort of goes into the larger thing, the fact that Trump can't do anything. I didn't know how long it was going to take for that guy to get back. Let me send over this really quick.
Mm-hmm.
And you can mute up and watch it if you guys haven't seen it already. Or I can just play it for you, it's fine. I got someone in the box, I don't know if they're debating. Make sure you guys are following along and link to my bios, other accounts. I'm also live up over on YouTube and YouTube Shorts over on OK Hi, different channel. Shiz.
Oh,
Shiz. What's going up? Or what's going on? What's happening?
what's going on, guys? How do you guys feel about our president?
Terrible.
Broadly?
Awful.
Awful? Why?
I mean, the chaos that's ensued. We haven't had a moment of peace since he's been president.
In America?
Yeah. What,
Yeah.
between the ongoing trade wars, the wars that have continued,
I mean,
have
the
not
trade
seen
war.
any kind of ceasefire.
The trade war has been a thing for a long time.
Has he or has he not exacerbated it?
I think he's acknowledged it and tried doing something about it.
Well, the question was, has he or has he not exacerbated it?
I don't think he has. I think one of the things he's done is acknowledge it. I don't think Biden did anything or even acknowledged it.
So he did, but the question is, has he or has he not exacerbated the trade war? And I'd say if you're knocking out $9 trillion worth of value in the stock market, I think that's exacerbating it. I think when you're going up against allies and tearing apart trade agreements, that's exacerbating it. I think if you're going to be costing the American consumers hundreds of thousands of dollars out of their 401ks, then of course that's exacerbating the issue. Hasn't made it
401k
better.
has nothing to do with trade war.
Well, it does. It does. It has everything to do with the stock market.
How does it correlate?
That is a
How does
response,
401k correlate
because
with-
that's a response towards the trade war. Markets fluctuate based on his trade policy. And as a result,
not necessarily.
401ks are in decline. Well, yeah, they do. What, they don't fluctuate based on trade policy? Then why did they? Why did they contract $9 trillion?
You're saying the 401k is relevant to the trade war.
It is relevant to the stock market, which is a indicator of trade policy, and the confidence of trade policy.
Okay, in a sense, I can see that.
Okay.
I can see how they can correlate. Yeah, you're right.
Okay.
But I mean, we've seen worse dips in the stock market than we've seen during Trump's. How long has it been? 150 days.
Not last time we experienced a dip that big. No, Trump was in office.
Oh, you're
2020,
talking about the
then it was
pandemic.
2008. Yeah.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. I mean, if you want to talk about a global pandemic, then sure.
What about
Okay.
1929?
In what?
1929.
Oh, I wasn't born.
Me
Do you
neither.
have a relevant understanding of
I mean,
history?
Trump was born. Was Trump born?
No, he was born yesterday. But if you have an understanding of history, that'd at least be some kind of indicator in the right direction here in this conversation.
Well, I mean, times are different in 1929 than they are now.
How were the policies different? Smoot-Hawley versus his current.
I mean, inflation
Tariff
was totally
policies.
different. Our inflation, our dollar value, like the world was different. We didn't even have internet back
But
then.
we're talking about economic policy. Whether or not the internet existed is irrelevant.
Not necessarily. I mean, you want to go back to 1929, the world was completely different.
Were there not tariff policies back then?
Sure.
Then why would the existence of the internet deter that argument?
Because the internet changed the world entirely.
What does it have to do with trade?
A lot. I mean, it made trade a lot quicker with communication.
What does it have to do with tariffs?
Did I say it had to do
Does that
anything?
affect the rate? Well, you're arguing that it doesn't have an effect. And we're talking about the policy itself.
Oh, well, you guys are going back to 1929, dude.
Yeah, we're drawing a historic comparison.
Yeah, I mean, we can compare them, but I don't think it's a good comparison because
So why not?
they're different. Because the world was completely different, dude. The internet changed the world.
Okay, but the policy wasn't. That's the whole argument.
Right. You still have physical trade moving around the globe. So I don't.
Yeah, but at a different speed, at a way different rate.
Yeah,
It
it's at a
doesn't.
different speed, but I think that would make it even more imperative that it gets dealt with because that means whatever happens quicker. 1929 going to take a long build up, several years. Trade's
The reason
moving.
the reason I do support tariffs is I've actually done business with China. I've imported containers, multiple containers a year from China, and I kind of have seen.
Are you that
You know,
guy? Wait. Are you that guy that had that video go kind of viral?
No, I do
You
not.
do
My
you
shit.
do
I don't.
the rims.
I don't post.
So you okay? There's a guy that was talking about that. He's like, I imported rims and yeah, containers. I just was seeing it was you. It's fine. Sorry, go ahead.
But yeah, the issue. I mean, there's multiple issues with our trade right now. We've seen in my little industry, we've seen multiple issues. One is once you start making money with China, I mean, the manufacturer they send their relatives here on a school visa or any type of visa. They purchase a warehouse, and then they literally sell to themselves for nothing. And then they sell to the American market here, cheap as dirt, to where no American can compete with them.
Yeah.
And
You're
then
saying that people
their
on
government,
student visas
then
are
the
buying up
Chinese,
property?
and then the Chinese government gives them a kickback, like 15% kickback for bringing any type of USD back to their country. So that's what a lot of these Chinese manufacturers and businessmen are doing is
Can you
selling
name
to the
one?
American market as cheap as they can. No American
But
can
there's
compete with
not.
them.
You're never gonna compete with them, so why even
Yeah.
waste our time?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, what they're doing is they're
I
kicking
mean,
American businesses out.
right, but you're never gonna be able to compete with them. We could write legislation to stop businesses from leaving.
To stop
They
businesses.
don't
Well, I
do
mean,
that.
I'm not saying that we need to do all business here in America. I like to have trade, but I want it to be more of an even playing field. I mean, I can't go to China, buy a piece of land, become a citizen, and sell to their market. It's almost nearly impossible.
I know, but you also got to remember, like, there's, you know, they're, they're just able to make stuff cheaper. So what's the solution?
Yeah.
Are you gonna move everything back up over here, and then everything is way higher, and then you have to jack up
Well,
or the amount of pay in the United States? What's the
and then
solution?
the other issue is that, you know, like you said, they're making everything as cheap as they can. They're bringing it here. But yeah, the other issue is that they can actually control the American market. They can name the prices here in America because everything that we consume here in America is made there. So if they wanted to, they can just say, "Hey, we're going to raise your guys' price." And one thing I do support is the tariffs because we can distribute manufacturing and get these other countries a shot to manufacture for the big consumer in America. Like Mexico, South Africa, I think they deserve more manufacturing jobs there. They have a pretty equivalent labor rate. I understand we can't bring everything back to America, but there's some companies out there who actually have the profit margins who can. I think we need to bring them back here. But the ones who can't, who are working on 30% profit margins or less, I think we can distribute manufacturing, get them out of China, give them some type of incentive to manufacture in Mexico, South Africa, or somewhere else other than China so we don't get controlled by
But
them.
how does that help us?
That helps us because we're not being dictated by one country.
But he's targeting all these other countries too.
Yeah, all these
Yeah,
other
he's
countries.
targeting Mexico.
Yeah, because they also import a lot from China, which needs to stop. If they didn't, then I think the tariff would come down.
It's not about them
Okay, but
importing from China. It's about U.S. jobs being sent overseas and over to Mexico and Canada, or at least what he deems U.S. jobs.
Say again?
It's not about them working with China. It's about what he deems as U.S. manufacturing being overseas.
Well, U.S. manufacturing has been overseas for years, dude.
We know.
very
That's
few-
why his tariff policy with those countries makes no sense.
And there's only one country who's manufacturing for us, and it's China, and that's unfortunate. I think
There is
there's
not
other
one
countries.
country that's manufacturing for us.
Well, the majority, right?
Yeah,
Sure.
they probably do the majority.
Yeah, and they can dictate almost anything that we have. I mean, we've seen it during COVID. I seen it during COVID because the ports were congested. They bought a lot of cells at the port, and literally they named their price on it because they could. They sold them back to us. We had to do it, and yeah, the American person suffered because we had to pay it, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, I would love to see more stuff being made. Like if you walk into our Walmart, more stuff being made in Mexico and other countries other than China. Like from the headphones you're wearing, the hat. I mean, everything that we consume is made over
Right,
there.
was that so? Everything that he's done isn't for America; it's to move jobs to Mexico. I don't know. This is such a weird argument. Like, how is
Yeah,
this helping
to
us?
be distributed So we're not controlled by one country. One country can literally name the price of.
But we're not, and the problem is not I mean, the problem is not just manufacturing. The problem is logistics, supply lines, know-how, technical difficulty. There's also like companies have want for intellectual protection in various different countries, and China does take those very seriously when it comes to major manufacturing, like Apple
Yeah,
or whatever
I
it
get
is.
that.
Those don't exist in, or at least to the extent that would be needed for a company like Apple to trust moving to one of these other countries. There would have to be
Why
supply
not?
lines. There would have to be, there would have to be significant investment in supply lines, which you're talking ports, you're talking docks, you're talking, importing raw various material through around the world to another country.
I
You're
mean, these other
talking
countries have
pretty significant, huh?
a lot of these other countries have raw materials. It's not just China that has
I
aluminum
know, but
or.
one of the things that China has done and done really well, and they have a significant head start over virtually any country, is they've monopolized the material to build stuff, and that's just a fact.
Exactly. Yeah, they
Right,
monopolize. They've
right.
monopolized
But with
manufacturing.
that, a lot of the stuff that they've monopolized has been finite resources, and also, like for instance, let's say you want to make an Apple iPhone. This is how technical it can get. You say you want to make an Apple iPhone in Mexico, like you want to make that
Hmm.
shift and make them in Mexico. Okay,
Okay.
so you're gonna have to establish. You're gonna have to establish shipping lanes. You're gonna have to establish intellectual protections. You're gonna have to establish the warehouses and the
Yeah,
manufacturing sites. You're gonna have to establish.
and think
You're
about
gonna
how
have
good that would be for Mexico. I mean, the
Right,
market would
but you're
actually
talking
boom in
about
Mexico.
but you're not talking about a little bit of money. You're talking about what would inevitably equate to tens of billions of dollars, maybe even more, in infrastructure set up in Mexico. Like
Yeah, and
that's
I think
what
that would
company is going to want to invest
Mexico.
in that, and
I
what
think. I
company
mean,
would
there
want
has
to
been.
invest in that, and why
There's
would we
been
go to a
multiple
global
companies.
trade war?
There's been multiple companies who have, and I think it's been successful. Like Can-Am, for example, it's a big manufacturing company. They've moved to Mexico. Their Can-Am stands for
Who?
Canadian America, Canadian
No,
American, and
no.
Yeah,
they're
there have been companies that have moved there, but when we're talking about the more technical stuff, the stuff that's not easily reroutable, it's difficult. But also Mexico doesn't have the infrastructure because
But I
they have
think we
what
need to build
120
it.
million people. China
Yeah.
has 1.8 billion.
Okay.
They just don't
I mean, there's,
have.
there's people in Mexico with their hands in their pocket. They do have the infrastructure. They do have the people there to do the jobs, and also companies would save logistically because we don't have to ship across the ocean. I mean, we use less energy. The world would be a lot greener. The prices would be damn near the same because the labor rate's pretty close, and we would save logistically because we're not having to cross the ocean.
That's
No,
not his plan,
we
though.
would have to. Yeah, we would still have to import stuff like rare earth from various different stuff. But this also, I just want to point out, like, you're arguing something Trump is not. Trump is not arguing for this. He's arguing for
I
American
know he's not
jobs, and I'm
arguing for
not
it, but I
sure
think
why we would go. I'm not sure why we would go through a global trade war because we don't want China to manufacture stuff. I don't
I
understand
mean
what the strategic point of that would be.
we've been through a global trade war for years, and we've seen how they manipulate our products here in America. I know he's not
So
arguing for that. I know he's not really arguing for that, Trump, but I do
Isn't
see
this
with the
so
tariffs
funny
how
though?
many companies are
yeah,
exiting China.
what's weird is
Isn't
like
this so
you're
funny? A
mad.
bunch of
You're
people. Oh, this is just really quick, and then Josh can have it. Like, it is funny that a bunch of people are arguing about whether or not uh, shit should be made in China on China's already made high quality shit. You know, it's kind of a weird dynamic. Sorry, go
Wait, say
ahead,
again?
Josh.
How what?
It's just weird how because like you're arguing about moving stuff to Mexico because we don't want it to have it, whatever. And literally everything in our life is made by China, and they very clearly
Yeah.
have made it better and cheaper than we could have done it. There's no question about that.
I don't know
Um,
about better.
no,
bro.
absolutely better.
Every high quality good is made in China. I don't know where you think you're
What?
getting your high quality
Yeah,
good. Yeah,
buy
for
a
sure.
Liberty phone.
So,
Every
just real quick, man, I think it's funny. Like this whole argument is you're mad at China for doing capitalism better than we did it, and like you're kind of seeing the importance of nationalizing our natural resources and how beneficial it is for the country as a whole. I think you're kind of clicking with this stuff. You just don't realize you're seeing it. China's doing capitalism better than we are. In the last 40 years, they've pulled themselves out from basically an underdeveloped nation into the second most powerful nation in the world. So they're doing this better than us, and you are asking for DEI for Americans
I mean,
because
if you
Chinese
consider
government's doing it better than we are.
if you consider using slave labor rate as capitalism, I don't think that's
We
right.
actually
Yeah,
have.
did you
Actually, no,
know,
this
though,
is
that's-
wrong. We have a similar
Yeah,
rate of. We have a similar rate of slave labor in the United States. It's very comparable.
Actually, we have more. We
No,
we
no,
have
no.
more slave labor in the United States
Are you
at the rate of
kidding me?
2.5 million
Are you kidding
within
me?
the prison system
They pull it
compared
up.
to
So
China,
wait, hold on. Let me get
whose
this straight.
population is larger.
Your argument is that China is the best quality. They make the best quality
Oh, that's a straw man.
products in the world.
No, I don't think
Right.
that that's true. I think that they made
Well, that's what
low.
you
I
said.
think that they made consumer goods significantly better than we could have ever made them. That's a fact. They've made
You think
consumer
they
goods
make-
better than we ever could have made them.
You think they make them better? You said they make higher quality products than we do.
Right. I think that there are some things that we are significantly better in, and then there are things that they are better in. They are better at manufacturing consumer goods.
Okay,
They're
so you
better
think
at
they
it.
you think that they make better goods than we do, and you also think that
By and
here in
large,
America we have a higher rate of slave labor rate than in China.
Brooke, appreciate it.
argument?
Thank you.
Given our prison
I
population,
can pull it up.
yes.
No, my argument was that there's a comparable rate, but Josh pointed out that if you count in prisons, it's actually higher.
Well, Josh, oh my God, well, you want to include China's prison?
Actually, they might have more. Really quick, they actually might have more, or we might have more than them per capita. 1 second. So they have
Absolutely not.
We have
5.8 million
25% of the
people.
world's prison population is in the United States.
There's people over there who are working for pennies, dude. We don't compare.
So
Yeah,
we,
2.5 million in the prison system. Yeah.
Ours
That's America,
is
bro.
ours
Yeah,
is
making
3.3
license
victims for every 1,000 people in the United States, and China I think is 3.7.
So you think the Chinese prisons over there, or they just got their hands in their pockets? They're not working.
I'm sorry, I don't know what that means. That wasn't your argument. Your argument was that they're relying on slave
Well, you
labor
guys were
more than
talking
we are,
about-
which
you
isn't
guys were
true.
Well, you're comparing our prisons, and you're saying
No,
oh,
I'm
there's
talking
no
about
slaves in
just
there.
no. I'm talking about just the slave rate in the United States.
Yeah, and you're including people in prison who are working.
No,
I did. Yeah.
Josh
Yeah.
did.
I'm a different person.
Okay. Well, I'm trying to. Okay, one says no, one says yes. I'm just trying to get it right.
Well, I'm just telling you that
He's
if
just
we
claiming his
remove
knowledge.
that, if the number's 3 point, I think it's 4 in China and 3.3 in the United States. So it's comparable. So that argument doesn't work. The reality is they do make better consumer grade quality stuff, and they can make it cheaper.
They make it
And
cheaper,
that's just
but not
that.
better quality.
What's American that's made that's better quality than China? Can you name
Dude,
something?
almost anything made in
Okay.
America is going to be better quality.
Name something.
Like what?
Name something.
Dude, I mean, your hat, your headphones.
This is made.
I mean, you
These
can
are
just
made
start.
in-
Literally made in
Huh?
China.
These are literally made in China.
No, I know they're made in China, but if they're made in America, it's going to be better quality. We have way
Name
better
something
craftsmanship.
that's
Stone,
made in
what?
America that's better quality.
We have way better craftsmanship than they do.
Okay.
Then
Do
you
you know
should
what
be
the
able to
you know what the
name a
law?
product.
Really quick. Do you know what the law? We don't, by the way. Mexico does. But do you know what the law of diminishing returns is?
What is it?
Okay, we can get to that in just a second. But did you think of any product that we could make in the United States that we can make better?
That we currently make better than they do?
Yeah, like just in a general sense, like hats
I mean, if you
or whatever.
I mean, if you want to look at our weapons and our military, our aircraft compared to theirs, I mean, we got so much stuff here, dude. That's
We're talking
made-
about
Yeah,
consumer
yeah,
products.
I'm
We don't buy
aware
aircrafts on
that-
a day-to-day basis.
Right, I'm aware that we that our aircrafts are just hanging. Appreciate the 10 over on YouTube. Could we get some dubs for just hanging? Appreciate it. Thank you, just hanging for the 10.
Okay, musical instruments,
but-
Gibson guitars.
Those are
How
made
about
in.
that? Gibson
there
guitars,
is,
made in the USA,
dude. I'm
Nashville,
gonna.
Tennessee.
Okay, really quick. So Gibson does make guitars in the United States. They also export their guitars, right? Which actually, this
Okay.
is a good point on. This is a really good point on the law of diminishing returns. Okay, so Mexico has started and picked up and actually is making a lot of different guitars. They have a Chinese-made Stratocaster, usually a couple $100, few $100. Don't know what the going rate on them now is. You have a Mexican ceramic pickup Strat, right? And that one is going to run about half of what an American Strat would cost. And I can tell you, having bought a Mexican Strat and have one, I had the money to buy the American one and went for the Mexican Strat because it sounded better to me. There wasn't very much variation in quality, and you run into what's called the law of diminishing returns. If I don't have a guitar and I buy a cheap guitar, $300 guitar, right? The amount of returns that I have gotten from not having a guitar to having a guitar is significant. However, if I go up to a different model, I pay $500 more, right? It goes, my returns on that $500 is significantly diminished over the original $300 that I spent. And then if I go up to, so if I go from that guitar to an even more expensive, an American one, the returns diminish even more. So the more you spend, the more your return diminishes, right? You could have reasons for doing
depends
that.
on the item. It really depends on that.
Right.
Because
So
there's some
most
stuff made in America
Americans,
that lasts way longer. I mean,
okay.
our natural resources
So
here in America are
I don't
aluminum
know.
or
I
steel.
had the guitar for 10 years, but my point is that you can go,
Okay.
oh, this is quality, right? And this is going to last a really long time, which I've had the thought. I've had that guitar for 10, 12 years now, right?
Okay. You
And
must not play.
it hasn't broken anything to that degree. So if I'm looking at this from a diminishing returns perspective, I could buy a Stratocaster that's American made for $2,500, $3,000, or I could buy the Mexican version of it for a third or half of the price and be able to replace it if anything ever breaks, which is not likely to, right? So there's that middle ground. If I buy a cheap Strat, maybe it breaks after 5 or so years, and then I just want to get rid of it. It's not that great anyways. I get a middle of the road one. It's not going to be top of the line, but it fulfills literally all the needs, right?
And
so there's
if you-
no real
if you
reason
get-
for me to buy the American-made product because it's so
It
much more
depends. It really-
expensive.
It really depends, man. Because if you look at like the farming industry, if you look at a saddle on a horse, I would much rather have a USA made saddle than a Chinese made saddle. Because if you look at how long the Chinese saddles are gonna last, the leather there is just it's just doesn't
It depends
even.
on. It depends. Most stuff made in America, though, I don't know about saddles, but most stuff made in America is going to be better and it's going to be cheaper, or it's going to be that middle ground, right? Like China's going to have that middle ground. So I may go out and buy something like, okay, it'll break after 3 or 4 years, but I was going to spend 4 times that on something made in America so I can replace it X amount of times.
It really
right?
depends on the item and what you're doing, how you're using it. I mean, but yeah, I bought some stuff off of TikTok, dude, and it just comes here and it's like you can snap it with one finger. It's trash. I mean, it's hard to argue if you're arguing that China makes better quality stuff than America does.
Generally speaking,
Go
if
for
you
it.
were to go to China, if you were to go to Amazon and pick up highest rate whatever, it's going to be comparable quality to what you would buy in the United States. It may not be spectacular quality, may not be the best that they could have done, but there's that give and take. And when you're looking at various different things, like they make cell
Sure.
phones better, right?
Sure.
So, right.
But do you understand that it takes an American to go to China to have quality control? I mean, if they don't have quality control in China, that's where you start getting a lot of junk. But it takes an American to go there to have that quality control because at the end of the day, it's an American company who is selling on Amazon for the most part.
Okay. Regardless,
I mean, we
my point
still
still
do trade with
stands.
China.
Americans are not going to, I mean, that's the reality. Americans are not going to want to pay 2, 3, 4 times as much for something when they can get comparable quality, right? They can get comparable quality. And I just want to point out, not every business that makes stuff in the United States does a good job with it. And someone point that
No, I
out.
understand.
Not all of them do a good job.
Yeah, 100%.
They may have a business, but
bad apples here in America too. Don't get me wrong, but I think like you were saying earlier, Mexico. I think Mexico does a way better job, and I think a way better job than China. And I think we can utilize Mexico a lot more, and at the same time boost their economy, give people jobs there, and save logistically
Why would we want to? Why would we want to do that?
because their labor rate's a lot cheaper than ours. What do you mean?
Why would we want to move jobs? I don't understand the argument
Is
of
it
saying
cheaper
now
than
it's not
Mexico's?
America first. It's not jobs in America now. We want jobs for Mexico.
Like I said earlier, the ones who can actually have that profit margin can come back to the USA, but the ones who are working with 30% profit margins or less can utilize Mexico, save logistically.
I don't understand why we're.
So is
arguing
Trump
about
going to waive the
Mexico.
tariffs from Mexico or not?
I think he's working on it. Yeah, I mean, if Mexico stops importing so much from China, I think you'll see a.
Well, I mean, like in this hypothetical that you've positioned here, which he's not in support of, mind you, would a world in which he has tariffs on Mexico still exist?
No, I know there's still tariffs on Mexico right now, but like I said, if Mexico stops importing so much from China and starts using their natural resources more, I think the tariffs from Mexico would drop tremendously.
But that's not his trade argument, and never has been.
I never said it was.
Okay. Well, then why are we arguing this shit?
I never said it was, but I think that it is something that he's kind of working on behind the scene. I don't think he's necessarily arguing
You
that.
don't know what he's doing behind the scenes besides scratching his
I didn't
ass and
say I
misspelling
did,
his own name.
But I'm saying that I see what's happening. A lot of the companies are exiting China and utilizing other countries
They're not going to Mexico.
to bypass the Chinese tariff.
Who's moved to Mexico?
I gave you an example already, Can-Am. I mean, there's multiple companies who have.
They were already there.
They've
never moved.
We
Yes,
should wrap it up. We
since
should
the
wrap
trade
it
war
up.
started. The trade war didn't start
This
yesterday.
isn't going anywhere.
All right, we done
Brooke,
here?
appreciate it. Thank you. I don't know, Gene. You want to wrap it up?
I
Your
guess.
thoughts? I don't
Mm,
I don't
just
know what
think
to
it's
say. I don't
pointless to
know.
argue a position that he does not hold.
Right.
Oh, you guys are done.
Because
Okay.
it's never going to happen.
It's not
I mean, it's never
relevant.
going to happen.
What's not going to happen?
He's not arguing for what you're asking. He does not want jobs to go to Mexico. He wants jobs to come back to the United States, and everything he's done is to try to do that. So why we're arguing
Yeah,
about
the
whether or
big
not
jobs who have the profit margins can come back to the United States. I've already said that.
Okay, but that's not how that works. Even if they do have big profit margins, they still can't cover American labor costs. So their prices are going to go up.
They can
significantly.
if they're making 500% profit margins. Absolutely, they can cover American
There's nobody,
wages.
yeah, but it was 30%. Now you're saying 500% profit margins. There's nobody making 500% profit margins.
Are you sure about that? You don't think
Yeah.
you don't think that there's anybody out there making 500% profit
I
margins?
don't think there's anybody in the manufacturing field making 500%.
Yeah, I mean, you can think that, but there's people out there
Can you
making a
name me
lot.
a company that make? Can you name me one of the most profitable companies in America? Well, not most profitable, but one of the ones with a high, like a really high percentage is McDonald's, which is 100% profit, which is insanely high.
Yeah, look at Elon Musk. Do you think he's only making 100% profit margins, or do you think he's making more?
Is he making 100% profit?
How
He's
is he
not
the
making
richest man in
100%
the
profit
world?
margins. He's not making 100% profit margins.
He's not the richest man in the world for making 20% profit margins.
He's not rich from making profit. He's rich from his equity in stock.
Yeah, he does. He wears multiple hats, right? He has multiple
I've had about enough of this.
multiple irons in the
Yeah.
fire.
All right, I think we're gonna end that there. Appreciate you for coming in. Gonna see if we can find someone else.
Okay.
I'm not sure what you're asking. Would it be possible to post the link to this page on your regular YouTube channel? I just think buddies could find it easier. Oh, yeah. I'm gonna send over the YouTube Shorts thing. I mean, I kind of want, so I will do that. I'm gonna wait though, because I really want to give it a week or two to build back up the views on here because I haven't been posting videos over to News Dude. So those videos are just starting to go out and they're starting to get pumped out. And maybe in like a week or two, I'll have enough debates stacked up that I'll switch it. It'll kick back out onto the algorithm. So I did have a news story.
What do you got?
Well, I was gonna do it in a second, but I got something in the box. Yeah, I'm not trying to
Okay.
have everybody move over to that channel, but if you guys over on TikTok do want to watch and Okay Hi, you can watch it on your phone over on YouTube. In this format, it's just a different chat. Help me out, get some views over there. It's slowly going out, but it's also just, it's gonna be a month or two maybe, I don't know. We'll see. 1 second.
Well, if you guys would like to support the show, go ahead and tap that screen. Get us up to 50K. Why it's still below 40K or around 40K is beyond me. Test while test. What's up?
Not connecting. Oh, okay. I'm gonna move these really quick and then I can get in this news story.
All right.
Move these over in the middle here. I just try not to get clips mixed up. Makes it a little easier on me. All right, got some news for the day. This is interesting. So Donald Trump lied about Ukraine. Shocker. Shocker there. But I'm going to play this clip for you, and then we'll... I'm going to play this clip for... Did this not get sent over? Where is it? Why did it not send? I'm so sorry. Hold on. Actually, I'm going to restart this fucking clip, because that fucking... It thought it sent over to Instagram. It didn't send. It didn't send. Still sending. Yeah, it's still sending. I do not want to play this on my phone. Okay, it's going to double send over there. All right, so Trump lied about Ukraine. This happened today at the NATO meeting.
Once said that you would end the Ukraine war in 24 hours. You later said you said that sarcastically.
Of course it was sarcastic.
Of course he had to. So it wasn't a lie. It was sarcastic, right? Well, that was sarcastic.
But you've now been in office for 5 months and 5 days. Why have you not been able to end the Ukraine war?
Because it's more difficult than people would have any idea.
So you said you were going to end it for a year.
You said it'd be easy.
I sat on this show and listened to, I don't know, thousands of people tell me that he was going to end it, that he was absolutely going to end the war in Ukraine, and that I was crazy for thinking otherwise, and it could be done. And I told him all the reasons it wouldn't be and all the problems, and he's literally faced every single one of them. Have any of those people come back to say I was right? No. Not like I need them to. They know I was. But can you imagine every time you're wrong, to be like, I was sarcastic. You weren't sarcastic. Why would, in what world would it be okay to be sarcastic about ending a war that's taken, what, 500,000 lives? Why would that?
It's funny.
What's the like he just says stuff like it's sarcastic. What's the sarcastic part?
Jokes.
The only way that you can take it as sarcasm is if he meant it like it'll be so easy, ha 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 ha, which it fucking wasn't. So I don't know. I'm kind of at a loss for words with it, but it's just like he just does this stuff. Where he's like, it was sarcastic. What's the sarcastic part? The only sarcastic part is that you would think it would be easy, and then that would make it make sense. I just ended the first, but it clearly wasn't, which he just admitted to. It's one of the hardest things. I pointed this out. I pointed all the inhibitions and all the reasons that this wouldn't pan out and he wouldn't be able to get a deal done. He literally has not been able to do anything. He's floundered between both sides, trying to fight both of them at the same time to get them to give leeway. Neither one of them will. Why is this happening? Because he thinks he's smart and he does not understand this conflict. And MAGA does not understand this conflict. They don't know what's happening there. They regularly just like, it'll be so easy and blame Biden for it, right? But can't give any accountability to Trump. I'm going to finish this clip off and then we'll yap about it.
Vladimir Putin has been more difficult. Frankly, I had some problems with Zelensky. You may have read about him. And it's been more difficult than other wars. I mean, look, we just ended a war in 12 days that was simmering for 30 years, frankly.
So he just admitted that Putin was the reason this is falling apart. And he attacks Zelensky for it, which is crazy because, you know, I said this was going to be the deal, but whatever.
We ended Rwanda and the Congo. It's coming to sign the documents. We've already signed basic documents, but they're coming, I think, to the White House.
Nobody fucking asked you about that. I don't know why. You know what I mean? Nobody asked you about that. He's just like, yeah, well, the Congo.
We stopped the
do an
Rwanda
agreement.
genocide.
Literally, nobody asked you about that. Everybody is asking you while you're just,
you were
you know, a
wondering.
terrible person. And I want to point out, all of that stuff that was happening in the Congo, Biden was already working on. Biden was in the Congo trying to get deals signed, trying to get that done, and this guy's going to go over and take credit for him. He has not ended a single conflict. And literally, like, there's, like, they go day to day, so, like, they were like, oh, there's a ceasefire. That's going to last, like, a week. He got a ceasefire in Gaza, remember? For, like, 3 days. Does anybody remember that? No. Mega never brings it up again. Why? Because it was a failure. A complete failure. Now, let's hear about Rwanda.
On Friday. We ended, Serbia was going to go at it. But maybe the most important of all, India and Pakistan.
That Modi actually said, no, he didn't play any part in ending this. Modi said that because Pakistan was like, no, you didn't have anything to do with it. And then he was like, well, India said it. India said this. And then India was like, no, we didn't say that. And then Trump doesn't really have a response. So he just says he does these things. This is the MO of the Trump administration now. He just says he does these things. His stupid believer or followers believe him. And then he goes and runs off to do something else and screw that up. He told us he was going to end the war. It's been, what, 8 months since he made that promise? Nothing. Like I said. Thoughts?
Sarcasm.
Sarcasm, it's a thing I've made up. I'm not really quite sure exactly what it is, but I think that I did it, so...
Really, anything
Sorry,
he
any thoughts?
says and then backtracks is sarcasm, even though it's not. There's no irony
he
in the
does do that
initial
a lot.
statement. Yeah, like
No,
with
there's
COVID,
not.
shining very powerful lights and injecting disinfectant. That was sarcastic, apparently, even though he asked the question to one of the leading scientists in the room.
Yeah, sarcasm has to have an undertone. None of this has an undertone. It just has him saying things are going to happen and them not happening.
Yeah.
And that's the entire MO of him. But he does, I just thought about that. He does do that a lot, where he's just like, I would shoot him on Fifth Ave. I could kill him. It's true. I could strangle him like the Scranton Strangler. That was sarcastic. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he could go into like a full-blown mental breakdown of being like, there I was on the side of the road thinking about strangling her. And it's just like gets really dark, and he's like, "That was sarcastic." You know what I mean? Like admitting to crimes. Like he would go into like an interrogation room and admit to crimes and be like, "That was sarcastic. I did do that, but everything I just said was sarcastic. I didn't actually." It's yeah. So at any rate, he lied about the war in Ukraine. He just said, "Oh, that's sarcastic," and literally nobody calls him out on it. Like, could you imagine if like someone was like, that was sarcastic when if George Bush said something he said was sarcastic, he would have been berated by the media. Berated. Yep. If Obama did that, if Biden did that, but like that would have been a headline. That would have been a headline 10 years ago. A full-blown headline. And now we've really just watched the complete decline of America.
Happened faster than I thought.
Yeah, really did. Really interesting how quickly you devolve into fascism. You know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Really is interesting. Anyways, if you guys want to support the channel, there's a Venmo Cash App in the bio. Would appreciate it. I don't have funding from anyone. George Soros doesn't pay me. We rely on you guys. So if you guys want to support, there is a Venmo Cash App in the bio. Alternatively, you can sub. We have a 20 sub goal on the day. We haven't got any. So if you guys want to support on any one of the channels, it'll count. But yeah, would appreciate it. You guys can sub on TikTok too. That would be cool. It's really easy. Just do it through your phone. What was I gonna say? Do we have anything else to cover this morning?
Not to my knowledge.
AJC, appreciate it. Just hanging, appreciate it. Thank you.
Brooke, thanks for the Cash App. I appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks for the $1.
Thinking.
Here's $1 for you.
Okay. I got an idea. Jaden, I want to call you after this. Actually, can we get on the mod call? I have an idea.
Okay.
Hey, Karmic, appreciate it for the 10. What the fuck? Don't sound so miserable. Jesus Christ. I'm not
I
your
want to go
fucking...
back to bed.
What the fuck? I'm not calling you about a parking ticket.
Okay.
Hey, Megan, appreciate it. Thank you. It's a unicorn. Megan, appreciate it. Can we get some dubs for Megan and for Karmic with the 10 gifted subs? Can we get some dubs and drumsticks in the chat for Karmic? Appreciate it.
Okay.
It's not going to be that long. It's going to be like... Actually, I'll just send a voice note.
Fine.
I'll just send a voice note. You can...
Just make the fucking call.
Nicely done,
No,
Jaden.
no,
Nicely
it's
done.
okay. No, it's okay.
Oh, you already said
It's
you would.
okay.
No. It's
clear
gonna
my
be
Karmic,
schedule.
appreciate...
Just go ahead and call me.
No. We don't need to. I'll just send a voice
Don't
note
backtrack
and...
now. You know,
No,
pussyfooting.
it's okay. I don't want to
All right,
ruin your
guys, just
beauty
send a
sleep.
fucking voice clip.
I don't want to ruin your beauty sleep, you know? It's
Yeah,
okay.
you like you ever cared.
You know, Mhm. I do care. Karmic,
okay.
appreciate it again. Thank you. And appreciate the unicorn over there as well. I think we're going to call it,
Okay.
but I do have an idea.
What's
I have
your
an
idea?
idea. I'll tell you.
It's gonna be in the voice
note,
clip.
not by call.
God fucking damn it.
Just kidding. I'm going to call you. Just kidding. I'm calling you. You know what?
All right,
No,
man, we'll
fuck
talk to
that.
you guys
You're
soon.
never going back to sleep. No, absolutely not. I'm staying on the phone with him for like 2 hours. That's what's gonna happen. I'm just
Gonna
gonna
be talking
fucking
about
yap.
his trailer and shit. What
I'm just gonna
Jason did
yap.
today.
Just yap. Just super loud yap. Anyway. All right, guys. I appreciate it. I will see you at 6 p.m. Everyone have a good morning. Do something productive. And yeah, I'll see you guys tonight.
All right. See
Josh,
you then.
Jaden,
See you guys later.
Take care.
if you miss my lives, go over onto NewsDude or go sub to Patreon. Okay? Go sub to Patreon. You can watch the playbacks there. Or you can go to, right now, you can go to the YouTube Shorts, which is that's being broadcast over on OK High. It's in the link tree in the bio, and you can watch over there. You can watch them. They're up for good right now until it gets monetized, so they're just going to stay up there. They are in vertical format, but you can watch them. But Tier 2 on YouTube or Patreon, you can watch the playbacks. I appreciate it, guys. I'm going to head out. I will see you at 6 p.m. Everybody, take care. Reggie, you want to read Reggie? Okay, we read Reggie. We raid Reggie. Pacific, 6 p.m. Pacific.